Dumb ways to die while gaming. 1. On August 3, 2008, in Bangkok, Thailand, 18-year-old high school student Polwa Chino hailed a taxi under the cover of night. Upon reaching his destination, rather than paying the fare, he pulled out a knife and attacked the driver. After discarding the weapon, he dragged the driver out of the vehicle and fled the scene in the stolen car. A witness to the entire incident immediately alerted the police, who intercepted and apprehended Chino just minutes later. During interrogation, he confessed to being an avid player of Grand Theft Auto, stating he wanted to know if robbing a taxi in real life was as easy as it was in the game. Investigators reported that Chino showed no signs of intoxication or mental illness. He was simply obsessed with the game. The teenager was charged with murder, subsequently convicted, and sentenced to life in prison. Following the incident, Thai authorities temporarily pulled all copies of Grand Theft Auto from store shelves, citing the murder as evidence of the game's dangerous influence. The crime received extensive international media coverage and remains one of the earliest high-profile examples of a homicide purportedly inspired by video games. 2. On December 21, 2017, a 44-year-old Moscow man became lost in a digital realm within the walls of his own apartment. Deeply immersed in the virtual world, he grew completely detached from the physical obstacles of his real-world surroundings. Within the hollow silence of his home, the victim was utterly alone, left with no window of opportunity to cry out for help. Although neighbors reported hearing a violent crash, the haunting silence that followed prevented anyone from suspecting foul play or an accident. Hours slipped away before horrified family members discovered him lying amidst a pool of blood and jagged glass shards. Investigators later determined that a fatal misstep sent him plummeting directly into a glass coffee table. The shattered glass acted like razor-sharp blades, carving deep into his body and inflicting lethal wounds. Forensic experts concluded that he succumbed to hypovolemic shock due to severe trauma to his head and neck. This tragedy sent shockwaves through international media, serving as a grim reminder of the hidden dangers lurking behind the veil of virtual reality. 3. On December 28, 2017, a trivial $1.50 Call of Duty wager ignited a lethal online feud between two American gamers. Consumed by rage, Casey Viner enlisted Tyler Barris to execute a swatting attack, a malicious prank intended to send a heavily armed SWAT team descending upon his opponent's doorstep. Calling from Los Angeles, Barris spun a chilling web of lies to 911 dispatchers, fabricating a bloody hostage crisis at a residence in Wichita, Kansas. In a tragic twist of fate, the address he provided belonged to Andrew Finch, a 28-year-old man who was entirely unaffiliated with the dispute. Armed law enforcement rapidly laid siege to Finch's home. The moment he stepped outside, officers barked chaotic orders for him to raise his hands. Amidst the sheer confusion, Finch made a slight, instinctive movement, prompting a sniper to open fire. He was killed instantly in front of his grieving family. The tragedy sent shockwaves through the global gaming community, resulting in a 20-year prison sentence for Barris and 11 years for Viner. Both now face the grim reality of life behind bars. 4. On September 19, 2008, in Nottingham, England, 21-year-old David Heiss traveled from Germany to track down Matthew Pike, a 20-year-old video game composer. The two had originally connected through a fan site for the game Advance Wars. However, Haiss's fixated interest wasn't actually on Matthew. He had developed a chilling obsession with Matthew's girlfriend, whom he had also encountered within the same online gaming circles. Heiss arrived at the couple's apartment that afternoon and forced his way inside the moment he reached their door. Matthew was home alone at the time. Without a single word of warning, Heiss lunged at him with a knife he had brought all the way from Germany. The assault was horrific. He stabbed Matthew 86 times in a blind, jealous rage. Matthew stood no chance against the sudden brutality of the attack. After the slaughter, Heiss fled the scene. Matthew's girlfriend returned later that day only to discover the nightmare waiting inside. She immediately summoned emergency services, but Matthew had already succumbed to his wounds hours earlier. Investigators quickly realized this was a premeditated execution. Heiss fled the UK but was captured in Germany weeks later. At trial, he was sentenced to life in prison, serving at least 18 years before any chance of parole. 5. July 9th, 2017, in Iloilo City, Philippines. A 12-year-old boy was playing Pokemon Go with his friends when the group wandered near an active construction site while searching for digital creatures. After receiving a notification on his phone of a rare Pokemon nearby, the boy climbed a perimeter wall of the construction zone, positioned dangerously close to overhead high-voltage power lines. According to witness accounts from his friends, the boy lost his balance and reached out to steady himself. In doing so, his hand made contact with a live electrical cable. A loud explosion followed, and he collapsed instantly. Despite the frantic cries for help from his friends, and the immediate response of bystanders and emergency medical services, the boy showed no signs of life. He was pronounced dead at the scene due to electrocution. Authorities confirmed that the victim was distracted by the game, which led him to trespass into the hazardous area. The accident was widely reported by local news outlets and has since been cited globally as part of a series of Pokemon Go-related fatalities, highlighting the dangers of players becoming so immersed in their screens that they fail to recognize life-threatening environments. 6. On August 5, 2005, 28-year-old Lee Sun-op stepped into a Daegu internet cafe. With a soda in hand, he logged into StarCraft and vanished into the screen. Hours bled into days. Witnesses noted he barely flinched, leaving his post only for fleeting bathroom breaks. By the second night, 50 grueling hours had passed. His frame slumped, and his eyes turned a haunting crimson, yet the clicking never ceased. Even when the manager pleaded with him to quit, Lee simply shook his head and queued for another round. As dawn broke on the third day, he suddenly hit the floor. Paramedics rushed in, but he was already gone. Doctors later cited cardiac arrest, a lethal mix of exhaustion, dehydration, and blood clots from total immobility. He was pronounced dead upon arrival.